Today at the International Medical University, we're going to talk about the body electric and the fields, and just some of the basic, real quick ideas on how we can prove this. See, we call it the trivector field, and when I worked on the Apollo project, as an electrical engineer, I saw that there was a body electric, and that we could uncover this and understand it through the phenomena of the shark.
The shark had an incredible field, and this is how he was able to find his prey, how he was able to find his food, is that when a fish would start to swim and was wounded, it would create a different type of electrical field that the shark would be able to detect. There was a phenomena in the shark's nose, in his nasal pharynx, which allowed him to detect the shape.
In the meantime, I'd love to know more about how the hammerheads find this spot. Scientists are working on one idea that may just give us a clue.
While we're using all of these instruments here to find our way, the sharks are navigating backwards and forwards from the sea mountains in strong currents and often total darkness with none of our technology. That's one really clever trick, and there are plenty of scientists who are starting to think that that has to do with their sixth sense.
That sense is an electromagnetic one. The bottom of the ocean is shaped by features of solid rock, hidden by deep and often cloudy water. But the magnetism in these rocks can form invisible ridges and pathways. So could the hammerheads be able to sense these magnetic landmarks? It's a very exciting theory. So while I wait for the Sea of Cortez to clear, I'm going to see some convincing evidence for that idea. Just how sensitive the hammerhead's sixth sense really is. I'm in Hawaii at Coconut Island, and I'm with Steve Kajura, and he's developed a really interesting experiment on how hammerhead sharks orient. Steve, can you tell us a bit about it?
All organisms in seawater give off an electric current, an electric aura.
There is an electromagnetic aura around all of our
bodies.
bodies.
Are able to detect this electric field and orient to it. So even if a prey item is, say, buried under the sand and you can't see it or smell it, the sharks can still detect the electric field and orient it and dig it up and eat it, like a stingray or a
sole or a flounder,
whatever,
or something,
something like that.
All sharks are attracted to the weak electromagnetic fields of their prey, but it's thought that the hammerhead's extra-wide head shape gives it an especially sensitive detector. To find out just how sensitive, Steve is using electric currents to create these fields and see what field strength they can detect. The circle of cable on the left has a current running through it, while the one on the right has none at all.
How minor is this current we're talking about? This current that you're putting in here?
Right.
How minor is that?
What I'm applying right now is 7.7 microamps, 5 nanovolts per centimeter, 5 billionths of a volt per centimeter.
It's an incredibly small figure.
The way to think about that would be to take a standard flashlight battery and stick one lead in the water in Boston, and the other lead in the water in Miami. And a shark swimming directly between those two leads would be able to detect that minute amount of current flowing between those two leads.
Just a little torch battery.
That's right, that's right.
And that's about 1,500 kilometers or so.
Right, yeah. It's tiny.
That's amazing.
An absolutely amazing ability of the shark to detect electromagnetic current. Very, very weak at a very large distance.
Even though they look identical, the target on the left attracts all the shark's attention. So Steve knows they're not attracted by visual cues, just a tiny magnetic field.
There.
Look at that. Beautiful.
So that's the electric current. So he's coming down, he was biting that just then. So he's picking up that incredibly small electrical current and having a bite at it. And the other one on the other side's a control. There's no electrical current coming through that at all.
That's correct.
So if a baby hammerhead's magnetic sense is so finely tuned, then maybe the adults use magnetic landmarks to find their way hundreds of miles to hidden meeting places like El Bajo.
See, we live on a magnetic ball, the planet Earth. And that's how the shark uses this magnetic thing to be basically pilot, as does the homing pigeon. And inside the human brain, there is a communication with the heavy electrical force of the heart, along with the subtle electrical force, complex electrical force of the brain. And this has an electrical field. Now, this electrical field extends beyond the body. As we know about electrical fields, they have magnetic components that make a field that extends beyond the limits of the physical. And as we develop more and more energy into our body and our chakra and our mind and our consciousness, we can increase the strength of that field dramatically. In fact, we can increase it to the ends of the universe if we want to go that far in our imagination. But it is basically true that there is a field in the body. And as we've seen with the shark in the studies, we understand it now. And the human being has it, but it's hidden away from his conscious mind. It's not in his conscious mind. The human being has this in his unconscious mind. And he can communicate with other people and other forces. Now, it's the chemical companies that don't want us to study too much of this. But if we look at the homing pigeon, the homing pigeon has an incredible ability, and there really is an electro sense in the human body. We studied it in the shark, but we now know that in the human body, it's in the nose, it's in the olfactory system, and it basically extends into the cells of the body and through the skin, where we do have an electro sense. And basically, we've written all kinds of books to prove this, so you can understand all the different scientific jargon and lingo. And we've been able to write all the different books and do many massive studies improving the body electric, the body sense, the electro sense. And we got this registered in 1989 as a device of the EPFX. And we got it registered in Europe as TVEP, and electrophysiological reactivity, because the same thing that happens in the shape receptors of the nose to recognize how you react to something, this also happens electrically, and we can develop this and put it into our Skio Eductor, the Indigo, and the other devices that we've made. And we've done the vast amount of publications of the science. This has all now been TUV reviewed and accepted. And we started our first studies back in 1974 at Youngstown State University, studying the trivector with an old polygraph. Yes, an old polygraph had to put ink into the little wells. And then we were able to do this, and with this, understand the complexity, the vast complexity of the body electric. We did Kirlian studies to be able to show before and after what the Eductor and the Skio could do, that increase and stabilize and balance and dramatically make the force larger, maximizing the energy of the human body beyond the confines of its small little shell. With scientific instrumentation to be able to measure that subtle body electric, and many other different studies that we're able to do on the voltage, amperage, resistance, what we call the VARHO, hydration, oxidation, proton pressure, and the pH, the electron pressure. And we got an idea then about how to construct the bioterrain map and how to work with it electrically through the VARHO. And all of this being able to get accepted, reviewed, fully validated, fully verified, established with the CE mark, FDA registration, and all the different studies to be able to bring to you a technology of the body electric. A technology beyond the drug companies, a technology to help you and your family to be healthy and to be able to deal with disease much easier, stopping the side effects and all the different problems that happen with the drug companies. So here at Immune, we have different courses to help to teach you more and more about the body electric and natural medicine from an evidence-based perspective, looking at research, validation, making sure that we do things that are safe and effective, and doing things fully validated. I'm Desiree Duvenet. I hope this helped you understand.